Thank you all for joining us. Call Mr. Head Coach Kayla Porter. Thomas, do you want to start us off with a question?
Thanks for the time, Coach. Appreciate it. Tonight, obviously having to make a lot of changes with the injuries that you had, different formation changes. How did you kind of rate the performance tonight, and what did you see that worked, maybe not going to repeat in the future?
Yeah, it was a tale of two halves. Thought first half was a tight game. You know, they're a good team with the ball. We knew they'd have some of the ball. It was a pretty tight half. There weren't many chances, but I thought we executed pretty well in a new system, obviously with a bunch of guys out. You know, I was really pleased going up the goal, and they didn't have many chances. And I just think we lost focus. You know, we lost focus on the goal. It's not a good goal. It's not like we're under sustained pressure where you see it come in. It's not one you take your hat off and go, great goal. It's just, for me, you know, we lose focus. You know, they play a ball in, backheel it in the channel. We don't get tight. It's a shot. It's kind of, you know, spilled for a kind of scraggly rebound that you go, how does that happen? You know, so learning from this game, those are moments that we have to continue to improve in, because we have our nose in front. We're up 1-0 and we're playing very well, you know. And then from there, I just thought our response for the next 15, 20 minutes wasn't what I wanted. Again, you can justify it a little bit with guys out, but for me, anybody that's going to be playing for us has to have a strong mentality and have a response, show that they can raise their level. You know, so I thought that next 15, 20 minutes was us really kind of almost, you know, taking time to accept that we just gave up a goal versus figuring out how we're going to get the goal back. As simple as that sounds. And then I thought the last 10 to 15 minutes we had a little bit of a push, a few half chances. You know, it's one we're disappointed on. I think it's very, even though it's a draw, it's a disappointing draw from the standpoint of we're up 1-0 and I don't care who's out. There's a lot of excuses we can make, but we need to start getting results and not finding excuses, you know. And I think for me it's the mentality, collective mentality. Now, Jonah in, Pedro in, Lucas in, right? Automatically our mentality gets a little stronger, right? And we have more leaders and quality. That changes things for sure. But we're gonna have games where we don't have those guys in, like today. We have to find ways to still claw out, at the very least, a 1-0 win.
And also, in the second half with Hurtado and Etienne, I know there were some shouts for fouls there that didn't come. They were reviewed quickly. Any thoughts on those? Not trying to get in trouble, but any thoughts on those and what you saw out there?
Yeah, I mean, at first glance, I thought the Hurtado one was a foul. He's in behind the guy, you know. So that one for me was tough to swallow, because it's a breakaway, right? And but I also haven't looked at it again. So, and for me, those are plays and moments that I'm not going to use as excuses. Although I wasn't happy about it. But I think 2 games, obviously 4 points. So, you know, it's not the end of the world. We're 14 games in, but we have to keep improving. We have to keep improving. And yet I think with all the guys we had out, new system, we played a couple Crew 2 guys, and that's how thin we were. It's also a positive that, you know, a couple guys get their debut for us. So it's, you know, it'd be easy to find positives and silver linings, but I think what I'm looking at 14 games in, no matter who's in, who's out, I'm looking for results, and I think it's 2 points drop for us.
Adam, do you want to close us out?
Caleb, it looked like you were able to get the ball into some dangerous positions, especially in the first half. You said it was tight. It seemed like you'd get the ball maybe in the final third, and then maybe a pass was off, or trying to maybe reverse the ball. What did you see was missing there that maybe prevented you from getting a few more chances on goal?
Yeah, I mean, again, obviously, Derek Etienne's not a left back, but because we have Pedro and Will Sands out, you know, we had to figure out who's going to play left back. He's played left winger, so we felt with the group that we had healthy, with essentially no wingers fit enough to start, and no left back, that a 3-5-2 would be the right way to go with the group we had healthy, and obviously we analyzed their team as well, and we thought that formation would be a good way to go, and I thought it worked really well in that first half. Yeah, we could have created a little bit more, but you have to understand as well that with certain guys out, Pedro Santos and Lucas, it's not going to be quite as clean, right? But I still think there were moments where we got in crossing positions where we had good runners, where we kind of missed the pass. Derek had a good one where if he just cuts it back to kind of James, Steven had a couple. But for me, the first half was what we wanted. We're up 1-0, and they had very little, So for me, we dropped 2 points on being focused on the goal conceded, and obviously from there our response to push to get the goal back. And those are things for me that I want to see our team improve in, no matter who's in the game. It's just a little bit stronger mentality when our noses are in front, and a stronger mentality when we concede to get the goal back and win the game.
And on the contact with Etienne in the box there at the end, who would have taken the penalty if you would have gotten more?
James, Big Bikemi.
Devin Wadsworth, MLS Now podcast. First, I want to say it's a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
You kind of talked about the Crew 2 guys that got their chance tonight. Can you talk about how you thought their debuts went?
Yeah, it's tough, obviously, because it's at the end of the game, right? So they didn't get a ton of time and a ton of touches, right? What we've seen from them, more importantly, is that they earn the right to be on the bench and to get into the game based on their performances, and that's the type of club that we've built. We're vertically integrated, and we need that tension from Crew 2 pushing some of the bottom end of our roster, and in some cases overtaking guys that maybe aren't performing or are starting to get more mature, where we need a succession plan for younger guys coming through. And I'm not a big believer in just token young guys playing or getting opportunities. They have to earn it. So when I play a young guy or I bring a young guy up, he's earned it. Those two have earned it with their performances with Crew 2. And because obviously we don't have 2 left backs playing, Mo was a good solution, obviously late in the game, to push Derek up. So, I think at the end of the day, we played 4 different formations. So that shows where we were at. So we're trying to be flexible with guys out. We played a 3-5-2, we played a 3-4-3, we played a 4-3-3, and we played a 4-2-3-1. So we played 4 different formations today to try to get the goal back and to manage guys out.
One last question.
Hi, Bill Petrello from Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders. Coach, happy Father's Day.
Thank you, sir.
Main question I want to ask is, Nagy's played just about every minute of this year.
Yeah.
Talk about his performance tonight, and then also the performance of the midfield. I know you kind of mentioned it, talked about it a little bit, but kind of share a little bit more about specifically his play tonight.
Yeah, I think the midfield played well today, and that's one of the reasons that we kind of like the idea of a 3-5-2, because that allowed us to keep that midfield, kind of triangle. And obviously with Artur out, which I didn't even mention, that meant James would slide in, and I thought those 3 guys did a good job. Obviously the 4-3-3 coming off Atlanta worked very well, but without a left back, a true left back, and obviously wingers that we felt with Molino and Luis Diaz, they weren't really fit enough to play 60 minutes, which you're normally going to want to start those guys. We just felt like that was the right formation, and again, I think first half I was very, very pleased, and I think it's something we can utilize. Darlington is always good. Aiden had a good game. James had a good game. But again, I think there were a few guys that we were missing just in terms of that late push, whether that's quality like a Lucas to pull off a play, or whether it's a Jonah Menson or Artur in terms of their leadership. I thought Josh had a good game. Milos, they had good games, but on that one goal we fell asleep. And I think when I look at that, I think we got to do better in that moment.
Thanks, Caleb. Appreciate your
Thank you.
time.
Take care.